Joining me to discuss the hot topics of the week is Sky News contributor Prue McSween. Good to have you on the desk, Prue. And a research fellow at the Institute of Public Affairs, Saxon Davidson. Good to see you, Saxon.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Saxon, the IPA's been doing some great work on the Voice recently. You've been making comparisons with the Maori Waitangi Tribunal over in New Zealand and the power of vetoes that it has, but then you've run into trouble with that content being censored on Facebook, and you've got this ABC RMIT fact-check mob saying, oh, this is wrong, and they've now given the same treatment to the claim, the correct claim, that the Uluru Statement from the Heart in full runs to 26 pages. And you can see there, we'll be showing you on the screen examples of people posting this stuff on social media and getting messages where they're being told, no, you can't say this, it's wrong. This kind of censorship by big tech and, of course, the ABC, on this kind of thing, it really sets up a battle between the elite, which is what we know the Voice will end up being occupied by, and the rest of us. We can't even point out simple facts without being quote-unquote fact-checked.
Absolutely, and it is completely undermining the referendum process. This all started when the IPA was trying to promote research videos basically explaining our analysis of the Voice to Parliament, which we've been doing since the Uluru Statement from the Heart was first released back in 2017. Now, Meta and Big Tech went on a mission basically to stop us from promoting these videos, one of which simply contained Senator Jacinta Price stating that all Australians are equal under the law. And this has sort of transformed into what we've seen with these fact checkers, which have repeatedly undermined the referendum process by censoring every argument against the Voice that they can find.
Well, there's nothing to worry about though, Prue. They're just going to give these powers to the government now. ACMA will be able to decide what is and isn't fact.
It's unbelievable. You know, we are warned about scammers. We're being scammed by these fact checkers and, you know, these social bureaucrats, social media bureaucrats. But, you know, and we're being scammed by Albanese. You know, this whole Voice is a conspiracy against the rest of us, because we all know the truth of it. The truth telling is that we're going to be up for billions of dollars when we have to pay compensation, and we will not be the owners of our land. We'll be dictated to by the Indigenous elites, as you say. So it's a terrifying time, and it's so important that we all understand the repercussions and don't get conned. We need to all vote no.
Well, the Prime Minister's, trying to unscramble that egg now. Good luck to him is all I can say. Now, to AGL Energy, which has been labelled, as I said earlier in the show, by its number one shareholder, the billionaire Mike Cannon-Brookes, as one of the most toxic companies on the planet. Now, in 2014, the New South Wales Liberals sold Liddell coal-fired power plant in the Hunter Valley to AGL Energy for basically $0. And then in 2018, Alinta Energy offered AGL $250 million to buy Liddell and keep it open until the mid to late 2020s. AGL then rejected that offer after the good folks at JP Morgan said, better to shut the whole thing down, because of course then you let the wholesale power prices rise, you rake in higher margins, and you just rake it in on the renewable energy. But this year, a month after AGL shuts down Liddell, of course, it hikes the power prices by 51%. Profits are going to double. There's a nice little share price appreciation. I mean, Mike Cannon-Brookes says this stuff, it's so toxic, they're emitting so much, because he's running an agenda to get AGL much more into the renewable energy space. Why? Because he thinks he can make more money out of it. Now, who does he make the money out of? Us, the consumer, the people who buy the power.
Absolutely. Now, Mike Cannon-Brookes, as a billionaire, can do this. I mean, he has the money to do so. But the real people who suffer from the closure of Liddell are mainstream Australians who now have to pay, as you said, Caleb, 51% more for their energy prices. And this is just the natural consequence of net zero policies in general. I mean, every time you take baseload reliable sources of power like coal and gas off the energy grid and replace it with intermittent and unreliable renewable energy sources like wind and solar, of course energy prices are going to go up. It's the natural cause of events.
Prue, interesting piece by Robert Gottliebson in The Australian today, talking about the impact and the flow-on effects of big companies and even small companies that are throwing their hat into supporting The Voice, and whether or not the directors of those companies could perhaps be pursued for abrogating their fiduciary duties. It's an interesting question, because if you're a shareholder in a company, and this company, any big company, Wesfarmers has done it, plenty of others, says we are giving $2 million to the Yes campaign and we're going to actively support The Voice. One assumes they haven't actually gone and spoken to all the shareholders about that. If you're a shareholder, surely you just want the company to generate the biggest dividend possible for you so you can make the money that you've invested to get back.
Well, this is one shareholder who would be asking questions, definitely. I mean, $2 million to some of these companies is, you know, tea money, I suppose. But at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of company directors not to waste money. And in this case, they're falling them over themselves to get on the woke bandwagon and pledge support and advocate. How dare they tell you and their employees, bullying their employees from what I hear, to, you know, vote the way they believe they should. You know, since when were they social justice arbiters? You know, how dare they? You know, it just, you know, we've seen billionaires like Palmer wielding their wallet to effect, you know, change in elections, and now we've got Cannon Brooks and the rest of them. How dare they, you know, even think that they have the right to it? And I hope they do come after them, because anyone with that kind of responsibility has to do due diligence, and they clearly haven't.
Little bit of accountability. Very quickly, Saxon, we've got 20 seconds here. Malcolm Turnbull, well, we don't like talking about him, but he's come out again and said, the Liberal Party has to resist a push to the right, otherwise we'll cede ground to the Greens and the Teals forever and a day. I mean, when is this bloke going to shut up?
I think that this is a perfect example of the contempt that the political class have for the real concerns in our current economic climate for mainstream Australians. You know, mainstream Australians are suffering through an inflation crisis, cost of living, energy bills are only going up, as we were talking about earlier, and the political class just don't like opinions that they disagree with.
Just extraordinary. Saxon Davidson, Prue McSween, thank you so much
Thanks
for
very
joining
much,
me
Kate.
tonight.